It's crazy. They got a light down there, something to hold these people. All right. All right, I'm at Delaware, Hokessing, Delaware.
In a quarter mile, turn right on the limestone road.
So yeah, we've done that. Now we're on our way to
One-third of a mile, turn right.
back to Philly. Grab a client down on Market
Quarter
Street
of a mile, turn right to Limestone Road.
and drop them off at the airport. Then I gotta wait for somebody to come up from the airport
Turn right onto limestone road.
and take them home. And I'm done for the day. Not a lot of money, not a lot going on, but you know what? It's better than.
Turn right to Limestone Road.
Thank you. It's better than being in the house doing nothing. Period. How's your boy? You know what I mean?
Proceed 5 miles on Limestone Road.
Even though if I was in the house, I would not be doing nothing. I would probably be in the studio. Or I might be doing something outside the studio.
Drive. Turn left onto Mendenhall Mill Road.
All right, so our next turn is left. Okay, so this is a long limestone drive.
Turn left onto Mendenhall Mill Road.
All right, this is telling me to do something different. All right. So I'm gonna do what this joint want me to do. The other joint wasn't telling me to do this. Hold on. I'm gonna X out. X out. You have like two Navi on. Like I got a Navi on in the car, and now I got a Navi on. On what's called, but see the Navi in the car don't know anything about traffic jams and stuff like that. That's why you gotta use it. I don't use. Hold on. I don't use. I just use Google. I don't use Waze and whatsoever because they give you a click on your job for your navigation. You just hit navigate, and that's the navigation I take. I don't try to do anything outside of what this navigation is telling me to do. Now, the one in the car picked up too. But the one in the car is actually telling me there was a better way to go. But at this particular point, now we're on point. Both of them are saying the same thing. So that's what happens sometimes when you're driving. And some cars the navigation don't work. So you just got to rely on your navigation. But I was in a situation maybe last week, whereas I was taking somebody home and the navigation on the phone they gave out. But thank goodness the navigation the navigation in the car was working, because I would have been lost because the navigation had
Quarter of a mile, turn left.
lost the GPS. So that could be a problem sometimes. And again, I'm just doing this for the guys who may want to get into chauffeuring. I'm showing y'all how I do it. Bada bing, bada boom.
500 feet, turn left to Graves Road.
And it just really depends. But
Turn left to Graves Road.
and there's really not much you can do except to really just be careful driving. That's number one. But also, to also know that sometimes you're going to run into challenges. Now, if you got a client in the car, it's like, oh, snap. Bada bing, bada boom. I lost my GPS. So I can do is just keep on driving till the GPS kick in. Now, we've also been kind of inspired, shall I say inspired, to if they know a better way, like if I have a client in the car, they're like, no, instead of going that way, go this way or something like that. We should do that. But we can. Because again, they know where they're going. So if they know where they're going home, then like she told me a couple ways. I'm like, all right, this really had me going another way. But she said, well,
Turn right.
what it is. Well, she said, no, go this way. I'm going that way. You go the way the client asks you to go. You know what I mean? Because again, they know where they're going. Now, if they have you go somewhere like yesterday, well, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday when we was going to Maryland, I said, should we straight turn? She was like, oh, no, turn. And then once we turned, it was like, oh, so we should have went straight. Now, she took the L on that. She ain't had no problem. She was like, yeah, it was my fault. She was talking to somebody on the phone. She said, yeah, it's my fault. I told her to straight or go to make a right and he should have kept straight. You know, they know if they, give you the wrong info. I mean, they told you which way to go. Now,
Turn right onto Newport Gap.
Turn right to Newport Gap Pike.
either way, if there's some kind of delay to say that, okay, well, I'm going to be late. Well, you got to say, well, I
Raise on Newport Gap Pike.
only turned the way you asked me to turn, so I did that, But she wasn't no problem. She had no problem. And one time I did make a turn, other than the turn I was supposed to make, but it really led you back to the same place everywhere. Anyway, and she ain't had no delay at going because she didn't have to go to an airport. It wasn't like you trying to go to an airport like Newark or JFK or Philly or, Baltimore or Atlantic Aviation or wherever, BWI. It's not even about that. Now, if you on a flight, then it's different. But nobody books a limousine ride for a flight that's going to just be getting there. I think they're always not told, but suggested that you be at the airport 3 hours ahead of time. So that means you want to schedule the ride an hour ahead of the time that you should be at the airport. So you just put 4 hours. So if you got to be there at 6 and you're 3 hours away, you book your ride for 4 hours away. So you'll book it for 2. And that way you're going to make it on time because, like I said, traffic can happen. Anything can happen. Accidents, anything can happen. So you want to make sure if you're getting a limo or any kind of ride. I mean, I don't know about Uber and all that stuff. I Ubered for a week one time, but I would never catch Uber or Instagram. That's the Instagram. So yeah, you just they got to make sure that it's up to them to make sure they allow enough time for them to get to the airport. And if they got to check bags, they got to go through customs, things like that. That's a whole nother vibe right there. That's definitely a whole nother vibe. So, and I might have to pee. If I got to pee, I'm stopping and peeing. I'm not going to pee on myself. All right, cool. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop at the restroom. Or I might be late. Well, look, this is part of the ride. You know what I mean? A pee stop is part of the ride. If I got to stop and take a pee, I'm not going to pee on myself to get you to where you got to go, and it's only going to make maybe 5 to 10 minutes difference. So I'm just going to pull over right here and say at the rest stop, and I'm going to go pee. I'm going to be in there for a minute or two, and then I'm out. I'm back in the car. That's not enough to have you miss a flight anyway. For real. So when you do this, never rush. It's not about rushing. It's more or less trying to get to where you got to go. But if you're working with a company, then, it's up to them. You don't have more than one driver. It's not like you have a lot of, you only got one driver. I'm the driver for the day for the whole company. Had to do that. I'm not the only driver in this company. There are other drivers in the company. So, say for instance, like I said earlier, I didn't think I was going to make it to the airport plenty of time and picked her up. But it was like to the point that they don't think I'm going to make it to the airport because they're looking at the flight and everything too. And when they think the flight, how long it's probably going to take them to get in, you got to add, you need bags where you don't have bags, all this stuff. And they said, well, look, don't worry about that. Somebody else going to grab that one. We're going to put you on this one. And that's what it is. Now, if it messes up your schedule for the whole day because I'm only working to a certain time, then that's just what it is. I'm only working to a certain time. And I might have to lose a run because that run, the next, okay, well, you just switch off that run because you're not going to make it. We're going to put you on this run. But if this run goes past the time that I schedule myself to be off, then I'm not going to do that run. So, well, I can't do that run. You can't make me do that run because I put my schedule in. I put my schedule to what it is. And one time I got into it with one of the dispatchers, and I look, that wasn't no big deal to me. You can't fire me. I told you, my schedule is be at base at this time to start and be back at base when it's time to end at those times. Because one time I put in for 10 o'clock, and they thought that meant, 10 o'clock picking up a passenger. So I get a job one time for Pittsburgh. So, okay, Pittsburgh. So I said, okay. I'm like, I won't mind driving to Pittsburgh, 4-hour ride. All right, that's cool. I had to be there at 10 o'clock. That means I got to get up at 3 to make it to the joint, to make the trip to be up there. I ain't doing that, and I wasn't going to do it anyway. I said, no. He's like, well, you guys get yourself scheduled for 10 to 8. I see, I know that. That's 10 at base. That's not picking up a passenger at 10. So you looked at it and said, okay, well, if he's picking up a passenger at 10, then he got to be in here at 5 because we're going to take him 4 hours to get up there to pick her up, and then, for any incidentals that might happen. I ain't giving no 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock to pick up nobody. Mm-mm. So, that didn't make any sense. I couldn't understand why they gave me that, because my schedule was set to be 10 to 8. So what I've done now is I make my schedule 12 to 8. That means 12 at base and 8 to be over with. Now, if they act right, I might do 9. All right, this joint 9, all right, cool. But if you got me being at the airport at 8, because you need me, okay, well, can you do the 9 here? And then I pick up airport. If the plane might not get there at 8:30. You know how planes are. I might be running late. You got the bags. Might take forever to get the bags. Next thing you know, I'm still at the airport at 10 o'clock. I say, I can't do that, bro. Can't do that. I want to be at 8. I say, I'll do 9 for you. I'll stay till 9 for you, but I'm not staying on. I'm going to be at the airport at 8:30, knowing that I put in to be off at 8. I'll give you till 9. And then by the time I take the person home, it would have been an hour anyway. So that would have been a whole hour to take the person home. And then not tell them when they was actually going to get on a plane to get their bags. That could have turned to a 3 hour. I wouldn't have got home to 12 o'clock. We ain't doing that. Not doing that. That's not going to happen. So just know, if you decide,
Use the middle lane to turn left.
you set your own hours. Now, I didn't know I could set my own hours. Just one day I looked at them, like, oh, I can set my own hours. I ain't even know that. You know what I mean? So I started picking my hours.
Turn left.
It says specific hours. I'm like, oh, okay, bet. So now I can pick my specific hours. Because usually they'll have, 12 to 20, which is military time, right? Through military time. 12 to 20, which would be 10. 12 to 20, no, 12 to 22 would be 10. 12 to 20 is 8. Whatever it is. One day I saw specific hours. I'm like, all right, bet.
Delaware to east.
But sometimes don't get upset at me because I told you I set my hours. And I told you what I want to do. I want to be back at base, turning in this car after I get gas at 8 o'clock. I don't mind getting the gas. I might add another 10 minutes because you got to fill the tank up before you take the car back. No, then you might have to vacuum it out if it's really dirty. I'm not a dirty person, and the people I drive aren't dirty, so I don't worry about that. But with that being said, gotta keep your chin because they be calling you tomorrow. Oh man, that's all right. I just dropped it all the way down there, man. I ain't gonna. That car is gonna be down there forever. Oh, there you go. So I dropped it down the seat. Digging out that joint for 5 hours. Okay, hold on. I'm getting a ding ding in my ear, and it might be like.
Use the right lane to take
Okay.
Delaware 141 south ramp to I-95 Newport.
It might be a ding ding telling me, okay, no, you ain't gonna make it to that job on time, which is, it says I'm gonna get there at 4:17, and I don't think that job is equated for 4:17. Hold on, I gotta get out of this.
Right lane to take the Delaware 141 south ramp. Right lane to take the Delaware 141 south ramp.
All right, so now we get ready to head to Philly.
State Route 41 south.
We're in Delaware now. I just dropped off, like I said, they dropped off my first client.
For 3 miles.
She said, I'm gonna give you a 5-star amazing. I said, no, you ain't gotta give me amazing. No, I'm giving you 5-star amazing. I was like, thank you. Thank you. Amazing and great. 2 amazings and a great. Because I know how to talk. I know how to have conversations. I'm very articulate. And if somebody is a college graduate and they talking to me, I won't be mispronouncing words. I know people think they're so smart. They be jacking up some words. Like, bro, that's really not a word. What's the word? Spinacalism. I said spinaculum. I said spinacalism. Come on, bro. Stop playing. You don't know how to word. All right. I'm still out here hustling, baby. Got work to do. All right, what my man said here. Are you still doing the fragrance? If you will. Thank you, bro. Thank you, man. I know, man. I heard that before. Somebody said I'll be the pontiff of fragrances. This guy called me the pontiff of fragrances. Are you still doing the fragrance? If you still the king of, hold on. Are you still doing the fragrance if you still the king of fragrance? I don't know. Like I say, I'm not sure I understand, but I kind of understand. I just got to talk about understanding words. Um, I talk about the fragrance. I don't get on there every day telling you what you call them with the panty dropper and all this stuff. I don't do that. I don't get down like that. I stopped doing fragrance reviews really long time ago because there was too many pretenders up here trying to act like they knew what fragrance was, all this stuff. They ain't no thing. They ain't no A thing. They went to TJ Maxx, bought a fragrance for like $5, and now they fragrance kings. Nah. But like I said, I'll tell you, you go to my YouTube page. I'll talk about fragrance this morning. I'll talk about something else. Sometimes I'll talk about a fragrance. Sometimes I'll talk about music in the fragrance. Sometimes I'll have a thought in my mind in the fragrance. Whatever. It don't matter. You know, I'll talk about fragrances. Ain't no big whoop-de-poof to me. Where we at here? All right. Ain't no big whoop-de-poof. I'm going to talk about fragrances. Whether I'm going to do it to where y'all got some guy
Left to I-95 north.
putting up pictures of him
Use the left lane to take the
holding 500 fragrances in his hand. I'm not out of there. First of all, I'm not trying to get paid. I'm not trying to get paid by YouTube. That's number one. I work for a living. Well, I'm retired now. You know what I mean? But I get a couple of dollars, you know, from Navy and my pension and Social Security. So, you know, other people are still doing this because they don't want to work. They're lazy.
the left lane to take the I-95
You know what I mean?
north bridge.
So they act like they got a persona on YouTube talking about fragrances. And, you know, they might be good. They might have, you know, 10,000 subscribers, 20, and they might get some money. But really though, really. Ever since I saw that dude who had a channel. Well, that was a challenge too. He had a channel, and he must have said or did something,
Continue on I-95 north, 3/4 of a mile.
and they demonetized his channel. Oh, dude was done, yo. He was done. He was on YouTube crying, bro. He was crying. The dude was crying because he was paying bills.
In half a mile, keep left to stay on I-95 north. Follow signs for Wilmington.
He was paying bills. He was paying car notes. He was paying the mortgage. He thought he was the man, and he was the man. But then when they shut him down, see, I would never be a person that let somebody else shut me down. I'm gonna be able to say what I want to say, and I'm still not gonna be shut down because I'm still gonna be making money.
Keep left to stay on I-95 north.
Can't wait to get the extra 100 for Social Security this month. Cost of living increase. I think you get an extra $125 next week. It's a beautiful thing because I worked for it. I worked for my Social Security.
I-95 north for 20.
I've been working since I was 16 years old. A lot of y'all ain't a day in your life. Just getting on Facebook and YouTube and thinking y'all gonna live on friggin' Facebook and YouTube until that joint go down, and then y'all gonna be jammed. And y'all gonna be on YouTube crying, can you send me ads, Cap? You know, all the followers, you know, they're not monetizing me anymore. Just shut up. Just shut your mouth. You decided not to get a job. You decided to let YouTube and social media bait you in to make you a slave and told you that you can get this money. They don't care about your money. What they're giving you is pennies for them. Pennies. You're getting pennies from them as far as they're concerned. But you busy showing off you got fragrances and you this and you that, and you getting that little bit of money. When it all dries up, you don't have no job, you don't have a pension, you don't have no Social Security, and now you're a bum at the age of 50, maybe even 40. Because if you're in your 20s now, don't think this is going to last forever. If you're in your 30s, don't think this is going to last forever. And don't get caught getting shut down on. And if you're in your 40s, don't think this is going to last forever. Because it's not. Eventually it's going to shut down. Eventually somebody's going to jam it, and you ain't going to have a job. You're not going to have Social Security. You're not going to have a pension. And then you're going to be wishing somebody in your channel to see you cash out. That's corny. That's crazy. So again, I don't need to be a fragrance reviewer. You know, I'm a musician. I'm a Grammy member first. I'm a musician first. Fragrance came after that. I'm a fashion guy. I'm really more fashion second than I am fragrance. But I started fragrance first. But I was doing fashion on Facebook before I was doing fragrances on YouTube, actually. And then they kind of coincided each other. But look, you gotta do what you gotta do. Do your thing. Do what you want to do. I mean, I can't tell you who to sock it to. All right, y'all. I'm ready to get off the phone now. Got things to do. All these videos are for, some people who want to check me out while I'm doing what I'm doing. And then the video for people who may want to be executive limo drivers, not Uber drivers. You know what I mean? Not Lyft drivers, but a professional driver. Unfortunately, I can't do any taping when I have a client in here. But again, my last client said, 5-star, amazing. I'll take that. I mean, to be real with you, I don't think the company I work for appreciates all my amazing and great drivers and excellent driver, because they're always trying to find something I do wrong. But I got the receipts. I posted them on Facebook today. I'm going to post them on YouTube next. Excellent driver. Great driver. Amazing. I'm out later. I got other stuff to do.